so many people now are disillusioned, triggered, upset, and are having real social meltdowns. And on the one hand, yes, I am laughing at some of these meltdowns, but on the other hand, too, folks, I do pause, and my brain says, this isn't funny. This person's having a real mental breakdown. And I actually saw one live. When I went to pick up my mother and stepfather at O'Hare Airport, somebody actually really had a full-on meltdown about the election at O'Hare Airport. And it was, look, I love dark humor. I love comedy. On the one hand, I didn't laugh. I didn't smirk. Inside, I was laughing. And then my conscience took better of me. This person's really letting politics control their lives. And it is, I look at it with humor and then with dread. And I wonder what happened to you to where you are letting this political system control every aspect and emotion, and you thinking that it's the end of the world when it's not. There's always going to be another election. These politicians, they're all scumbags, but guess what? Nothing is going to end. We are still going to be okay. But when you resign yourself to having these tantrums and then saying online that I am going to be verbally assaulting and yelling at men, even people who you don't know how they voted, or cutting off ties with family, and please, if I'm ranting too on, just cut me off here. But
no, this is
no. But then you're saying, I want to cut off relations with my family. Social media is a wonderful tool, but it's not your therapist, and the internet is immortal. You've been in this business. You have been in show business. You know firsthand that when those cameras go on and they get shared on television, radio, the internet, it's up there forever. It's not going away, and people are going to look at this, and how you represent yourself is just like how you represent yourself going outside. It's what my grandfather and my mother said to me. When you walk outside this house, you are representing our household, our family, our values. You're representing who we are. You're representing who you are. And when you do that on the internet, you're showing the world, especially these people who have meltdowns, that you are a person that should be avoided, not talked to, and that you do need to seek professional help. I cover politics too. I've been covering politics for 7 years. And, the one thing I've learned is, okay, time to disconnect, time to pour myself a glass of wine or go for a run, drink some water, observe nature, read a book. You got to unplug yourself. And I blame corporate media. I blame their fear factoring, they're putting in this fear of the other, the politicians. And I blame the politicians themselves for creating this environment and landscape. And so when that person was having a meltdown, when I finally came back from O'Hare, which surprisingly, a little bit different subject note, that was the fastest I ever got to O'Hare Airport and coming back, because normally there's traffic. You live in Chicago. For me,
oh my God, it's
I was like, what's going on here? These roads are clear, and I'm making good time. So
that was a miracle. I just got back yesterday from a trip out to Las Vegas, and I take the Blue Line, which is, not a pleasurable experience.
No, it's not.
But I can't F around with that traffic.
No.
Going there, coming back, it's too much stress. Because you're worried about making your flight, and then on the way home, you're worried about just getting home, and it's unnecessary stress.
Yeah, I have.
So you caught a miracle.
I have no idea how that happened. The dice rolled in my favor. I had a royal flush in my hand. Boom, winning. So there you go. And yes, I've taken the Blue Line too, coming home when I flew back from Japan. Talk about a downgrade from Japan's super railways to what we have here. But back on point, what was really weighing on my mind when I finally got home is some of these people having meltdowns or driving their cars or either that you don't know really where they're at, to where, okay, if they're really having this meltdown, would they drive their car purposely into somebody else because they see a Trump bumper sticker? Would they physically attack somebody because they assume that they are a third-party voter or a Trump voter? I mean, there's a lot to unpack here about the health and mindset of people and how they let politics control their lives. And I get the fear of Donald Trump, but we survived 4 years of him. Then we survived 4 years of Biden. Now we got another 4 more years of Trump. And I'll give the floor back to you. But what enrages me is that now you're seeing the protesters come out. You're seeing all these people I've seen before.
Deja vu.
It is deja vu. And I'm wondering, where were all of you because the Biden administration wasn't perfect, folks. Where were all of you when you said that you'd promise to be out on the streets if Roe v. Wade was overturned, if if Trump did that. And again, there's the excuse of Trump made the Supreme Court, but this happened under Biden. Roe v. Wade died under Biden. Where were the protesters? Where was the anti-war movement? Where were all of you? Where were all of you? And now you're here. And I'm so hesitant to even cover a Trump protest because I've done that since 2017 to 2018, late 2018.
I remember those.
And I just got to say, okay, you're going to be protesting in front of Trump Tower. That's not a government building. Are you going to give that same energy to the Democrats that purposely misled you about Biden's mental health or about Kamala being a fit candidate or anything else of that nature? Like, are you going to give that same fury and energy towards Democratic and Republican politicians, and especially the ones here in Chicago? Are you really going to do that? And I'm concerned that people are just going to let this Trump derangement syndrome get the better of them. So that's my rant. Didn't mean to go too much on that, but there you go.
No. I think what's so frustrating, and by the way, on the meltdowns, I have laughed a lot the last week and a half.
Guilty.
Like I have been
guilty.
I think I've even shared a few with you. Like they are epic.
They are. And they are funny. It's okay to laugh.
Yes. Now I'm not laughing at this person who's clearly like not okay. But it's just, to me, it's like you said, politics taking over your life and people not having the ability to separate them as a human versus them as a political activist in some way or another. And what I find the most crazy is, one, people are projecting what they're thinking onto other people. Like I posted a video, I think you may have seen it, that was encouraging people to vote. I posted this on Instagram, vote. And it was the day before the election. All the political endorsements were coming out from celebrities on both sides, right? Having these massive final rallies, all of this stuff. It was just constant information, the text messages from both sides coming in, asking for money. And I'm sitting there, or asking for your vote. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. And I live this stuff every day. Like I love politics. I listen to your show. I listen to so many other shows. It's kind of it's a toxic hobby that I have to like pay attention to this stuff. But people were projecting all over me that this is your privilege. My privilege to tell people to vote. I didn't tell them who to vote for. It's not my business to tell someone who to vote for. It's my business, I think, as someone who has a platform, to encourage people to participate in our electoral system. Yes. Now, I also respect people that don't, but it was like my privilege to say that. I think I was up to like 4,000 followers I lost since that post, 4,000 followers I lost. People sending me these DMs saying, how dare you show your white privilege by posting something like this instead of voting for what's really important for other people. I'm like, the whole point of my vote is if you have the privilege, we'll say, to go vote for somebody else because you don't have economic uncertainty that you live with every day. You don't have to worry about paying your rent or your mortgage or your groceries or whatever that is. And you have the ability to make a social issue your number one issue, or voting for another group of people that may not have things as good as you do. Like, that's fine. My whole point is like, vote on what matters to you. And I think we need more of that and less of the propaganda telling us who to vote for. And when I tie this back to people having their mental breakdowns, it's sad because like these people don't realize that they have been propagandized from everything they turn on the TV to everything they read to everything they see on social media. You're in the algorithm. Yep. You're in the algorithm and you're being propagandized for whichever algorithm you're in, for what you're supposed to like and what you're supposed to dislike, who you're supposed to support, who you're supposed to not support, who you're supposed to love and who you're supposed to hate. And until we wake up collectively and look at each other as our neighbors, as fellow human beings that have their own material conditions that are driving the way that they participate in politics, we are just going to be hating each other. People telling others to cut off family, skip Thanksgiving,
divorce, even encouraging divorcing their husbands. Like,
that's nuts.
That costs money. Legal stuff costs money. Money.
Yeah, it sure does. And I can tell you divorces are not cheap. They are expensive, especially when it's two people that are like fighting over shared assets and stuff, because I didn't even have any of that. But what blows my mind and what is so upsetting for me to see is how many people are turning on each other and friends and family and circles of people that they care about, instead of first of all, looking internally and seeing what makes them so angry about all of this. And then secondly, like recognizing that your family and your friends are your family and friends for many reasons besides their political viewpoints. So I just really, I just feel for people. I think they're propagandized and they don't even know it. And then I feel for people who are losing any kind of relationship because of this. You know, we can agree to disagree. Yeah. And we've lost that. We've lost that in this country.
I think for the most part, I've been really lucky with politics in my family and with friendships. And I can proudly say that at least I'm surrounded by a good group of positive, and of course we all have different opinions, well-rounded, educated people that are able to separate politics. But some people don't have that, that blessing, that fortune, that luck, that privilege in its own right. And the closest thing I ever had to falling out with somebody, but we repaired our friendship like a month later. I was in the 2016 election where I was telling a lot of my college friends, and I think I told this story before, first time I was on your show, I was warning them because I was in Philly after what happened at the DNC convention there. Hey, there's a 50-50 chance that Trump could win this. And this was in 2016. And that got a lot of my friends upset. And I got this one article, private message on Facebook, the messenger on Facebook, the app right there. And they sent me this article titled "The Rise of the KKK Under Trump." And they said to me, by you saying what you're saying about Trump winning, you are supporting this. And I texted back to them saying, how dare you? You've known me for about 7 years. 7 years. And this is before Hardlands Media came into existence, because Hardlands Media got started in 2017. So this was 2016. So this was like, so I've known this person for a long time in my college years. And I said, if you really think I support this, then you have no idea who I am. And I'm just giving you a warning. There's a big difference saying I'm going to vote for this person, which I didn't, and saying, hey, there's a heads up that this guy can win this after what I saw. Well,
this is the problem.
And the thing is, we fixed our relationship a month later, because you know what they said to me? Hey, Kit, you were right. The Democrats really did run a terrible campaign. And I forgave them, because that's what a mature, adult, reasonable person does, okay? Like, it takes a lot for me to hate somebody. Like, you really got to hurt me, mentally, emotionally, physically, to cause me to hate you. I can have a disagreement. Nick, you and I can have a disagreement, but I can say, okay, fine. Nick and I have a disagreement. I can't change his mind. He can't change my mind. But I'm more of like, hey, here's my perspective, and Nick, you share your perspective. And at the end of the day, we go our separate ways, because guess what? It's just words and different thoughts and perspectives.
Yeah. And also you should have that. You should have all sides of information, all sides of perspective, because that's how you change people's mind. And that's free speech.
That's what I tell my audience. I tell my audience, hey, look, when I give my perspective and analysis on politicians, like take, for example, Tulsi Gabbard, RFK Jr. are going to be part of Trump's administration, and somehow by proxy, I guess, DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency under Elon Musk, they're going to be part of the Trump administration. Now, I have my criticism of those three people, but at the same time, too, when I'm seeing people say, oh, well, they're going to bring in dictatorship and everything else. Well, no, you're not adding to the conversation. You got to show me, like, okay, what is your real legit criticism toward these people? And I could say, well, let's look at their stance on money in politics, or the wars, or corruption, or either that previous
the issues that matter to you.
Yeah, the issues that do matter. And you just can't let emotions or people, or either that people you're never going to meet, rule over you. I mean, Donald Trump is the biggest landowner in the world because he lives rent-free in people's minds. And he doesn't care if anybody is thinking about him. All he knows, he won the presidency. And now people are trying to treat him into something that he is not.
Thank you for listening to this clip from the full episode of Eyes Wide Open. Please like and subscribe for daily clips and new episodes that drop every Tuesday. I appreciate you.